Welcome everyone to Thursday mindset training with Alice, and Chloe's going to be here as well. So today is going to be round 2 of our Tony Robbins style self-development work, because I've obviously been on his course and there's so much that I want to share with you. So if you have a notebook and a pen, that's going to be great. I'm going to turn down the music a tiny little bit. I need Trevor today. Okay, awesome. So today, back to meeting. I'm gonna get there. It seems I can't go back. Wait, I'll stop share. Let's stop sharing, restart share. Okay, sorry about this technical lull. Okay, cool. So let's start today. So this is the second round of Tony Robbins training. And I want to start with something a little deep to begin, because what I've learned is the world will accept the judgments that you place on yourself. Simply, whatever you feel about yourself, even if it's subconscious, is what the world's going to reflect back to you. So I want you to just write really quickly, what judgments do you carry about yourself? Spend a few minutes on this, because some are blaringly obvious. Like, I'm fat, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 all this bullshit. But some are more, they're more deeply rooted and less easy to find. So in order for the world to stop reflecting back the judgments that we see on ourselves, we've been talking on meetings a lot about being attacked. So if we're being attacked, it's more that people are mirroring back to us the judgments that we have on ourselves. That's how I see attack if we're in this business, because the more I'm rooting in figuring out what my judgments on myself are, the less I don't get attacked anymore, because I know so much who I am. But it wasn't always that way. It takes work. So what judgments do you carry about yourself? We're mean to ourselves. Much more mean than anyone else out there. And in the wise words of Trevor Hall, everything will be all right. I promise. Okay. So you've probably jotted down some. You can go back to this. But I want to go on. How much truth do you think there is in the judgments that you hold about yourself? Yeah, well, we know the answer, but how much truth do you think there is in those? Honestly, zero potato. So it's like, well, where have they come from? Who have I adopted these thoughts about myself from? Because often they're not even ours, other people's. We adopt that. Okay, and now to flip it a little bit. This is a nice one. What would the people who know and love you the most say about you?
I don't know.
Chloe says she doesn't know, so you have to really go into your heart on this one. If you were standing in the shoes of your mother, your boyfriend, your best friend, whoever it is, those people who just love you unconditionally, what would they say about you? And does that correlate to the judgments that you have about yourself? I don't think so. Sometimes we forget that there are people right next to us who already know we are somebody without us having to do anything. They love us no matter what. They already know we're somebody, but we're always trying to prove and work through our judgment of ourselves, which is nearly impossible, by the way. To be successful, we need to be able to release those judgments we have about ourselves. So this is how we get to do that. There are people who look at you as absolutely perfect, like you could do no wrong. How is it that we're so mean to ourselves? So what would the people who know and love you the most say about you? Not the people on the internet who are projecting, by the way. It's none of our business what they think about us. But the people who we really care about, their opinion about us, what would they say? but it's nice. And only one thing will change your life, and that's the capacity to find what you love in any given moment. So if we go fall down the trap of self-judgment, oh, I didn't do enough work today, oh, I'm never going to get there, oh, I don't look the way I want. Can we stop ourselves for one moment to be present and find something that you love in that moment instead? Can we do that for ourselves? Wouldn't that be good if we could just make that decision for ourselves, that when we start going down that spiral of, oh God, it can be so heavy and it gets worse and worse and we repeat. Can we just like put the brake on and be like, hold on. I love where I live. I love my friends. I love today. I love that ice cream that I ate that made me feel really bad, but it was fucking great. I loved it. We get to flip the switch. Sometimes it's easier for us to focus on the love and admiration others feel for us. Sometimes it's easier. So if you find it hard to think anything good about yourself, you can use the list that you've just written, the things that the people who love you would say about you. Go back to that list. We get to borrow that. We can borrow that because sometimes it's easier for us to focus on the love and admiration others feel for us. It's beautiful when we get to use that. Tap into that anytime that you need to. Tap into that feeling. And when you don't feel enough, this is something all humans do. When we don't feel enough, we push love to the side because we fear that we don't deserve it. We get into self-sabotage when love's literally there all around us at every given moment. We push it away. We're like, no, we don't deserve that. We're crap. No. Self-sabotage. I do that silent thing. I just go off and don't speak to anyone. I mean, who am I screwing over? Myself? Good one, Alice. But I've now noticed that and I'm not going to do it. And Catherine, that's a really beautiful reflection. Sometimes those people that see us, we haven't even met in person yet, but we can read energies. Sometimes you just meet someone, you know, your soulmates. You don't even need to be together physically. So a beautiful life is not just a life of achievement. It's not just a life of achievement. It's a life of balance. It's all encompassing. It's everything. And last week we talked about, do you choose faith or fear? Do you choose faith more or do you choose fear more? Because they're both illusionary. It's kind of cool. Both are illusionary, so we get to choose what one we'd prefer to feel. And oftentimes, because we self-hate so much and we don't think we deserve love, we choose fear more because it's comfortable, it's known. But the more we lean into faith, the more the unknown can open out for us. That's where magic happens. And I want to share with you some business wisdom, a couple of points. So the first one that Tony shared is laser focus is the first step to success. Laser focus. So you need a huge emotional charge, a really strong why, and have total focus on what you want. Now, me and Chloe had a wonderfully profound moment yesterday that we'd like to share. We were walking, getting some midnight munchy snacks because we were going to get high. And we looked at each other and we were like talking, and then Japan came up. And I was like, oh man, I've always wanted to go. I'm obsessed. She was like, me too. I'm obsessed with the culture. I've wanted to live there my whole life. And then we were like, okay, when we hit black, we're going to go and spend 7 months in Japan. And suddenly that fire came up again. And we were like, oh my God, we could not get home quick enough to start working because that dream was so fucking, we still today, we woke up like, yeah, working. Because suddenly the why was so big because we're following our excitement. So it's just that thing of how high is the emotional charge of your why? If it's kind of blasé, like, yeah, I want to help people. Yeah, like I don't want to really like work much. Yeah, great, but it's not enough of a drive. You need to get really into the nitty gritty of the why. You need total focus on what you want. That's going to get you through. No excuses, no self-sabotage, no allowing other problems to get in the way, because this is more important. And that's always going to be there. It's a choice. Either we allow external factors that are trying to throw us off. It's the universe being like, oh, going to test you. Are you going to fall back into old patterns? And we do oftentimes because we don't feel worthy of the goal that we're actually going after. But the more we can emotionally charge the why and get laser focused on where we want to be, that's magical. What percent of you is focused towards specific goals of your business? So if you could give it as a percentage out of 100, what percent of you is 100% is laser focused towards your goals? I want to see in the chat, what percentage do you think you are in all in, out of all in achieving your goals? Like 100% is all in, like absolutely unstoppable. Nothing's going to stop me. 50% is like, you know, like I'm in. And 0 is like, I don't know, I'm just like going along with it. It sounds good. You can either like write this in the chat or you can be honest with yourself. Because you need to be 99, 100% all in to get those goals. And that's why you need a supercharged why. Like who's filled out their rank declaration form on this call? Be honest, 70% and growing. Okay. Curtis, you get to work on that. You need to get up to 100. What do you need to take it up to 100? Is it the situation you're in now? Is it something you, I mean, that was mine. I was living in my parents' attic with no money. Like, holy shit, I can't stay. And it gave me enough to hit diamond in 3 months. Nothing would stop me. I was absolutely on fire because I had a strong enough why. 85%. That's good. So what's going to boost you that little bit further? What is it that you need? What can you give yourself that will get you there? That's cool. Okay, cool. And I hope that you've all filled in your rank declaration as well, because that's a great incentive. Money incentive too. Okay, so the second one, massive action can be the cure-all. So clarity has power. If you have clarity, you have power. Clarity is power. That's so cool. You're not laser focused. Okay, why? Your why is not big enough. Your why isn't big enough, because if your why is big enough, I'm telling you, I've done it, you're going to get there. I'm not into excuses anymore, especially from myself. I call myself out very quickly when I feel that coming in. But we need clarity. Where focus goes, energy flows, right? If you're like focused, like I'm diamond. Not, oh, it'd be nice if I'd be diamond. I'm fucking diamond. Guess what? You're going to be diamond. It's true. It's the law of attraction. It's distracted. Distractions are self-sabotage too. Fascinating. I used to be so distracted. I'd be like, oh, I could just get high instead. That sounds nice. Now I don't do that. It's very interesting. So massive action can be the cure-all. Massive action twinned with effective execution, planning and strategies that work will lead to your goals. Massive action twinned with effective execution, proven tools. We've got enough of them. Mega Zooms, three-way calls. We've got everything we need. Planning and strategies that work. You want planning and strategies, speak to the people who are like at the top. They've executed those amazing plans and strategies. To have more of anything, you've got to practice. Practice. And also it's like a muscle. We were saying this, if you stop working, if you have time off, if you take time out, it's like starting from 0 again. Even me, I get afraid. I'm like, oh my God, I can't remember how to speak to people. You just got to jump back in and keep it's just a good reminder to yourself to keep it going. Because if you stop, it's really hard. You got to build the momentum up again. It's like, oh, I've got to learn. Just keep it going. Don't do that. Give it your all. And if it doesn't work, try something else. Why not? May as well. Otherwise, we're just going to stay where we are. So another really important point. Who you spend time with is who you become. So I want us all to write a list of the top 5 people that we're spending time with right now. Do they have the same drive as you, the same goals as you? Do they make the same money as you? Do they make less or more? Do they have the same values as you? And do they inspire you and support you to be your best? Because if you're around people that a lot of the answers are no, you got to get new friends. You've got to hang out with different people. And it's very hard sometimes, especially if we're trapped at home with our parents like I was. But I locked myself in a room and just hung out with you guys all day. Instead, I made amazing new friends on social media who were like really driven, and it made me really driven. We've got to let go of people who are jealous of us, who are happy with their mediocrity, because that's not the quality of life that I want to live. And I realized I was hanging out with a lot of people with lack mentality, poverty mindset, could never make money. So I started in Charlotte hanging out with millionaires and billionaires because I wanted to see what that would be like. I even dated a billionaire just so I could understand his mind. That's how dedicated I am to this mission. It's fascinating. But upgrade your circle. So the list of the top 5 people you spend time with. This is crucial. This is mindset every day. And if you're isolated like a lot of us are or were or have been, choose the people online that you spend the time with the most to inspire you and make you want to be better. People's biggest problem is that they think they shouldn't have a problem, and problems are a sign of life. We need problems because leaders are solution finders. Leaders encounter so many problems, but leaders tackle them differently. They're like, great, a problem, what's the solution? It's a whole mindset. Do you hang out with people with that mindset, or do they freak out at the first sign of problem and quit and say, I can't do it, and blame everything else? It's a good thing to figure out. Yes, I am diamond. Declare it. Announce yourself on calls as diamond leader. You can do that. Before I hit green, Alison was announcing me on every call as green diamond Alice Carter. Worked. I was like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay, cool. So now you've figured out a little bit more about your circle. You can have a little thought about that. Because you get a choice. It's not easy to walk away from friends, but I've let a lot of people go to become a better version of me. Now, a couple more self-reflections. Why will I and why must I end suffering as it arises? Why do you want to? And why must you end suffering as it arises? Yeah, that's right. Why? Why will you? Do you like suffering? Some of us do like suffering because it's comfortable and it gets us attention, quite honestly. My dad, oh my God, always ill, hypochondriac, because he gets attention from being ill. You know those people. So some people, when they suffer, they get attention. So it's wired. They're like, oh, if I suffer, I'm just going to like give up. Someone else will do it for me. I was that girl. Terrible. Why must you end it? This is for you to decide. And of course, feel free to share at any point during this call. If someone has like a realization or wants to share anything, chat's open.
I would say that suffering is just so energy consuming, and that energy could be used in better ways.
Really good reflection. We need to redirect that energy because suffering takes a lot more energy than positivity. Being positive generates more energy. Suffering completely drains you. But you know, there are people that don't eat all day and they're just high because they're on calls all day and they're just so like loving life and they're loving what they do. Or, you know those days when you're just like, damn, I feel like my battery's been rejuvenated. It's true. And then Tony Robbins was saying, you know, what gives us energy? And people were going, food, water, sleep. And he like debunked them all. Like none of them give you energy, but positivity gives you energy. You get to decide. And everyone was like, whoa. Okay. Go on to the next one. Why will I live in a beautiful state every day, no matter what? Why are you going to gift this to yourself?
I fucking deserve it.
Yeah, damn right. You hear that? Chloe's like, because I fucking deserve it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You all do. Because it feels better. These are the kinds of questions we should be asking ourselves on a daily basis, because they're really uncovering. They go deeper than most questions. Like, how are you feeling? Often I don't even know how I'm feeling. I'm like, everything. So this goes deeper.
Can I add that also, because the beautiful state happens right in the morning, right? As soon as we get up, how are we waking up? Are we waking up like with, oh my gosh, I'm tired, or I didn't get enough sleep, or what are all the things I get to do today? Like, how we start our day is so important, and it sets that beautiful state of being as soon as we start. So if we wake up and we're like, so I wake up and I give thanks and forgiveness, and I forgive myself and do all the things, and then I like journal and I listen to music and I move my body, and then I'm just like in it. I'm like in the day, and I'm like, okay, what's next? And I'm like, when things come at me, because I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now, like with lawyers and my work and taking on the government and all this stuff, but I'm also working my business. But and it ties back to that faith that you said. Like, I have faith tattooed on the inside of my wrist, and I got it in 2018 in Italy. And I had no idea why this word meant so much, but I get it now. It's like, the more I have faith in what is happening and what's going on in my life, it's like I can just move through it because I know I'm taken care of no matter what. So I can let go of that other way of being, the stress or however the suffering. I can let that go because I know that that's not who I am and it's not where I'm going. So
that's true. Thank you for that. It's beautiful. It's true. The momentum the day before dies in our sleep. So we're literally flatline when we wake up. And we have that moment of bliss before yesterday's thoughts go, and we're like, oh no, I've got a meeting today. Oh no. Like, we can catch ourselves. It's such a good reminder. And that's why the strong morning routine is important, that Sam's now integrating, that we do. I'm in my best, honestly, when I wake up, journal, meditate, have my green juice, work. And I haven't been doing that here as much as I should be at all. So it's a great reminder.
Die without exercise.
Without exercise, everything's very hard. Okay, let's go on. So what would transform if fear was no longer a part of my life? Oh, yes. But be detailed, woman. Yes, everything, but what everything? What would transform if fear was no longer a part of my life? This illusionary fear, right? This big illusionary fear that we carry around like, oh, it's real. If that was gone, if we could no longer attach to that, what would transform? Because then I challenge you to try and live life ignoring and pushing through fear to get to this part of your life, the transformative part where fear doesn't bother you anymore, because fear will always be present. It's very ingrained, it's survival, but we can completely ignore it and push through it and get to this stage. Because like the absence of fear isn't a thing. Like for Eric, for any crown leader, they're still fearful. There's always present, but the difference is they don't give a shit. They're like, fuck you, fear, and they go straight through it. I think that's so brave, because we're so scared. You'd start flying. Yeah, Kevin, well, you better get rid of your fear so you can fly over here.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Fear blocks so much. And so much of it is subconscious. So much of our fear is subconscious. It's like we sabotage ourselves all day, every day, thinking other things are important and that, you know, it's just going to magically work out. But you need to twin action with the belief. They go hand in hand. It's like, I'm diamond, and then the inspired action will come in and you're like, oh, I'm going to do that. It just work beautifully together. When you surrender, everything changes. So what would transform is fear, if fear was no longer a part of my life. Oh. Pretty much. Okay, and we'll go the last one. What have you done? What did you say? And what are you going to do to stay in that state? So before, what things have you done? What did you say? And what are you going to do to stay in that state? How much are you gonna give to yourself and promise yourself to ensure you stay in that state? When the fear arises and it's gonna stop you getting where you want to go, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? And what are the things you're gonna do to ensure that you stay in faith and in gratitude and in just joy? Make these promises to yourself and find an accountability partner. That's what we are, all of us here anyway. Say, you can reach out to someone and go, I want to talk to you about what I've decided. I want to say them to you so that you know that I'm doing this and I'd like you to hold me accountable. Or I respect you enough that I wouldn't lie to you. I'm going to tell you these things and I'm going to do them. And I want you to be the one to hear me say I'm going to do them. That's powerful. And everything's like preference. People think it's life or death if you don't get what you want, right? It's like, oh, I'm so scared because if I don't get there, this will happen. Everything is life or death. But if your happiness can't be dependent, it just can't be dependent on the behavior of other people. So there's certain things that we can't control. We just can't. So we need to just kind of surrender to that. People think it's life or death if you don't get what you want. I've not got what I've wanted loads of times. I'm still alive. It's not, it's all perception. There's so much perception here. If you want to change your life, is the moment you change your expectations for appreciation. The number one thing to change your life. Switch your expectations for appreciation. Stop having expectations and appreciate. That's going to change your life because we have so many expectations of others. Oh, they need to do this. Why aren't they doing that? They're making me feel this way. Wow, it's really destroying your peace. We can't control certain things, but we can appreciate instead what we already have, where we're going, this breath. It really is that beautiful. Okay, so now we've done that. To live a beautiful life, 1, decide not to suffer. This triggers a lot of people. I've done posts on Instagram saying suffering's a choice. And I get all these people like, oh, suffering is a choice. You're crazy. And I'm like, oh, damn. I wasn't expecting that. And I'm just like, dude, I love you. I understand. Like you feel like your life is suffering, but you can switch that off.
Yeah.
I've been in both. I've had horrific suffering and it was so painful. I was like, wait. And it's the moment you breathe and bob back up to the surface that suddenly it's not so painful. You have to surrender. So 1, decide not to suffer. Everything is a choice. I don't give a shit what it is. Everything is a choice. That's why I don't take excuses from myself, number 1, or other people anymore. I just don't. I don't have time for it because I don't believe it. 2, the 90-second rule. Get over it fast. Do whatever it takes to get over it when you're triggered. So change your body, like move. You change your voice, your focus, or your words. Change something quickly. And you practice this. 90 seconds is the maximum you have to get over this. And this is something that we did with Tony Robbins. So I want you to take one of the judgments that you have about yourself and say it, but with your fingers up your nose. I like this in a really silly voice. So I'd be like, I'm fat. Just keep doing it until you're laughing about it. So I want us to just take a judgment. I'm fat until it makes you laugh. And then you're like, wait, it switches it up. Because I'll just be sitting there like prodding my belly like, I'm fat. And then I can go, I'm fat. So we were all on Tony Robbins, like 25,000 of us doing this on the camera, like crying. Try it. It's like, you ever get one of those moments where you're down like, damn, I didn't go to the gym today. I'm a failure. And then just look like an idiot to yourself in a mirror for a while. It's really cathartic. It's really beautiful. So there are two steps that he said to live a beautiful life. Decide not to suffer. 90-second rule. Get the fuck out of it. If you're longer than 90 seconds, you're just wallowing in it because it feels good. Like, oh, suffering. Nah, that's old paradigm. We don't do that anymore. We don't need to. Cool. So now we know that. So suffering is the fear. So suffering stems from three things: the fear of loss, which is always an illusion. It's always replaced by something better. If we lose something, it's replaced. That's the new mindset we have. If something goes, it's to be replaced. Nothing's ever lost. Two, less. We have less time, less love, less money. Oh, I've got less. That's another root of suffering. And three is never. I'll never find love. I'll never have free time. I'll never find respect. I'll never be free. So they're the three: loss, less, and never. They create suffering. When you actually look at it, it's like, is that even real? Like, it's so interesting when he breaks it down. So the solution, the ultimate trigger for suffering is focusing on ourselves. So the solution is getting out of yourself, no matter what that takes. Suffering is always looking at us. Like, it's always focusing on me, my woe, oh, my life, it's so hard. But if we can get out of ourselves and serve or dance or do something else that gets us out of our own head, there you have the solution. It's like that. Tony Robbins has likened it to that. It's that simple to break it down. Stop living in yourself. Wait, there are some other things. So we can appreciate and enjoy. That ends the momentum of suffering. We can learn and grow. We can love, give, and be grateful. Be a blessing and you will be blessed. Be a blessing. What more can you give and you will be blessed? And so this goes on to what's the one thing that stops us making a change in our life? Fear. False evidence appearing real. The one thing that stops us making that change in our life. And there are two primary fears. This is fascinating. One, I am not enough. Two, if I am not enough, I won't be loved. So the primary fear is loss of love for everyone. Emotional death. If I'm not loved, I'm dead. That's it. That's more scary than death to people, is the death of love, the loss of love. But we are love. And if we are rejected by someone, they're not our person. There's always people who love us. So one, I am not enough. Two, if I'm not enough, I won't be loved. They're the two primary fears of humans. False evidence appearing real. My life is controlled by meaning, and emotion is quality of life. Emotion is quality of life. And we get to pick emotion. That's why we get to control the quality of our life, because we get to choose our emotional set point. Even if people are like, no, life is suffering. All right, that sounds like a great reality you've chosen. It's not real. So I don't get that. And you experience the part of life you focus on. So is it the end or the beginning? You decide. I love you. And that's my my Tony Robbins presentation for today. I know it was a little bit quicker, but there is so much depth to these questions. You can go now and meditate and write more to it, but it's what's real and what isn't real is what you decide. This is your decision. Take the power. You are the creator. And the more work you do like this, the more you realize that you are. It's a gift you can give yourself. And the gifts that you can give yourself come from answering these questions and realizing that so much of the stuff that you've made up in your head is literally just stopping you. But it's like this thin, fake veil. Act as though you have no fear, because you are always going to be loved. Love's never lost. There's no such